Hi, I'm Mayor Lisa Gilmore. Thanks for joining me today for a Mayor at Noon series on Facebook Live. This is an opportunity for you to hear how the City of Santa Clara is responding to the COVID-19 pandemic as we all hear stories from our community. It's also an opportunity for viewers to ask questions during today's Mayor at Noon. The focus of our show today is local small business. The majority of businesses in Santa Clara are small businesses, and they are the backbone of our community. We have over 6,500 businesses that fit this definition, accounting for 80% of the total businesses in our city. Small businesses also generate 35% of the sales tax revenue and employs over 7,500 people. Needless to say, small business is indeed big business in Santa Clara. And over 1,100 of our small businesses are over 20 years old. One of those businesses joining me today is Michael Fiorello, owner of Fiorello's Restaurant at 638 El Camino Real, Santa Clara. Sounds like an ad, doesn't it?
A lot of years, yes.
Michael, let's talk about the impact the pandemic has had on local small businesses in Santa Clara. First of all, tell us about the rich history of your family's business, Fiorello's in Santa Clara.
Fiorello's in Santa Clara, my parents opened up on 2230 El Camino Real in 1977, where we took over Me and Ed's Pizza that had gone out of business.
I remember Me and Ed's. Oh,
Me and Ed's was there forever. When they went out of business, my parents took it over. They were there for 22 years, and we've been at our current location now for another 22 years at 638 El Camino Real.
Wow, that's amazing. I do remember Me and Ed's. I remember your father and mother on the El Camino. Your dad was, I need to say, a larger-than-life individual that
Absolutely.
So many people know and remember lovingly here in the city of Santa Clara.
Thank you.
So can you tell us, Michael, about the challenges of running a small business in general before the pandemic? And what has it been like in this new pandemic environment?
Prior to the pandemic, business was great. We had record months, January, February, and going into March. When March came and hit, March 16th, when the pandemic hit, we were reduced to doing takeout food only. By doing takeout food only, at that point, it was between about 5 to 8% of our general business. With that being the case, we were able to do outdoor dining on June 5th. With doing outdoor dining, that allowed our business to get up to about 25% of our general revenue, which right now, with that being the case, struggling now going into the winter months is making it very difficult to see where things are going to go from there.
So that leads me to the question of, it's nice, a lot of our businesses have outdoor dining now. I know it's just a small fraction of what you can really have in your indoor restaurant, but when you see winter's coming, what are the challenges of not only the weather, but the time of day and when the sun goes down? Tell us what you're going to face going forward with the weather and time.
So we get phone calls now with customers asking why we're not open, and we have to explain to them that the state is allowing us to open, but the county, Santa Clara County and Sarah Cody, is not allowing us to open. The concern is that when the weather does change, people are not going to want to sit outside when the weather starts hitting in the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s. When the rain comes, people are not going to want to be sitting outside. They want to have the option to be able to sit inside, especially with the older clients that we have as well.
I was going to ask you, because a lot of your clientele, I've been to your restaurant many times, from Santa Clara, like me, a little bit of the older generation, and we don't want to be cold outside or deal with some of the issues of rain or other things. I had Lisa Schoenthal, our Director of Emergency Operations, here last week, and Lisa said that a lot of the restaurants now, there's a real run on outdoor heaters. It's even difficult to buy outdoor heaters because there's so many restaurants, there's such a demand. So have you faced any of that?
So right now we're looking at doing a tarp, spending a tarp. It's going to be about 40 feet in the front of our patio, going about 30 feet across. We're looking at doing that. That's another expenditure of about $6,500.
I was going to say, that's a big expenditure, isn't it?
$6,500 just for that. We've gotten 4 heaters so far. We're going to need about another 5 heaters on top of that. We just can't find them at this point. They're just sold out everywhere.
So the pandemic, it's the extra cost of all the protocols you have to put in place. It's just piling up, it sounds like.
Yeah, with the cost, it's just like not knowing and not hearing from Sarah Cody what the protocols are or what's necessary for us to open. We have no idea what to go by.
And it's been changing every day or weekly or monthly. And I remember the salons where you can operate, and then a few days later you have to pull it back after the expenditures of monies. The struggles must be just overwhelming at this point.
I have to say that thank you to our community. Our community has been doing a great job. Our numbers are coming down every day. If we get our numbers down just a little bit more, we'll hit that orange tier. Once we hit the orange tier, in my opinion, she'll have no choice but to let us open up with the 25%.
Okay. So one of the, another issue is your employees. So you had pretty much a full staff going into prior to the pandemic. What's happened to your staff? What issues are you facing with your employees right now?
Pre-pandemic,
in terms of layoffs
yeah.
or furloughs, or what are you doing at Fiorello's?
Pre-pandemic, we had 38 employees at one point. We were running on full cylinders. After the takeout only and now dining outdoors, we're down to 9 employees. We have furloughed 29 employees. At that point, we do hear back from the employees asking us when they can come back to work. Our answer to them is, we can employ you once we can get back to opening up 25% indoors. Up until that point, we just don't have the business to do that.
I've been in your restaurant so many times, and it's not just a family-owned restaurant, but when you walk in, even the servers and others have been there. Many have been there for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
And it feels almost like your family there as well. So what's that like for you when you have to lay off, not technically a family member, but someone who may feel like a family member that has been part of your family business organization for a long time?
Very difficult. You know, we did for the first, I'm going to say the first month and a half of being closed, we were sending food home to the families of our employees as well. My mother also, out of the kindness of her heart, was distributing money to each of our employees that were also furloughed as well. Over time that has gone on, business has gone down so much that we just can't continue to do that, but we miss them and we want them back.
I want to say that your family's history in the city, your father, is probably one of the most generous individuals I ever met in my entire life. May he rest in peace.
Thank you.
And your mother has followed that suit, and so you and your sister, Renee, as well. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be difficult going forward, I'm sure, to not have the business and the revenues coming in to be able to give back to the community. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but one of the other things that has struck not only me, but our city and our city council is not only the health of physical health of the individuals, but the mental health of what's happening out there. And looking at your employees, what are your observations about the mental health of your employees, your families, you yourself with your own family trying to keep this business and make it survive?
You know what? Being in business now and seeing my customers going through this pandemic is, I'll be honest with you, it's been very humbling. When you take for granted the business that we had for as long as we have, and then now being what it is now, the mental health of not only my customers, but my employees have changed as well. Customers will come in and pick up food for takeout. I'll ask them how their husband is doing or how their wife is doing. And some of them say, oh, they're doing okay. And some of them say, you know what, they're just not motivated. They're just staying home. People that would play golf 2, 3, 4 times a week, they're not even doing that. They're just staying home, and they're just not in the right frame of mind. It'd be nice to get back to somewhat normalcy, to be able to live somewhat of a normal life and deal with this in a productive manner.
When I talked to you a couple days ago, you had told me, and you had read me an email that you received or a letter you received from one of your employees. I see it there. Did you bring it today?
I do have it.
Do you mind reading it? Because
Absolutely.
When you read that to me, it really touched me that this is really indicative of the fact that your family-owned business is a family with all your employees as well. And so go ahead and read that if you don't mind.
Absolutely,
is that okay?
absolutely.
Thanks.
It's addressed to the Fiorello family. I just wanted to express in this time how much I miss working at the restaurant. I was just getting settled into my new family home, so to speak. I look forward to any time I was scheduled, no matter what I was doing, going through at that time. Be that as it may, I haven't been able to find steady work. I'm still without a place to live, and my car died on me at the end of February. My vehicle was my safe haven during the months I was working for you. Not being able to find good people, good employers, and a comfortable environment that makes you want to come back to work. Fiorello was part of my new future in 2020. I'm not sure why I decided to express all of this to you folks, but your restaurant, your business, your food have been on my mind, and I hope this finds you well. I pray for all of you. God is good all the time and will provide. Keep the faith. I wish you so much joy and hope this lifts you up a bit so we can go back to what we once knew was normal. Looking forward to meeting again with love and sincerity.
Wow.
I mean, it gives me chills reading that.
It's very touching, and I think really indicates how our world has been turned upside down.
Absolutely.
In the last few months. We didn't expect it to last this long, and it may be a lot longer. We worry about our small businesses. We worry about the employees. They're so important to Santa Clara, and to be able to help them mentally. Let me ask about you and your family. And I just want to say I've noticed a little bit of a change in you. Now, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this question.
Sure.
So a little bit of a change, and the stress, I can see it on your face, even though you have a mask on.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's been like for you and your family, because I know you and your wife Jennifer and your sister to be the hardest working people I know. So what kind of a strain, and do you feel the world on your shoulders? It's not only your family, it's all your employees, and keeping your father and mother's legacy alive?
You know, there is that stress that you see because you do know and you can see it. I also feel that a lot of the other businesses in Santa Clara, restaurants, small business, and things of that nature, gyms, places of worship, they're going through it as well. You know, and at that point, you just try to hold your head up, you be positive. You talk to the customers when they come in, you see how they're doing, keep in touch with them. You appreciate them coming in. You appreciate them, you know, for the business and for the opportunity that they give us to stay open at this time. They do ask questions, and they say, ask us how we're doing. Being one of the last family-run restaurants in Santa Clara, asking us, please stay in business, please. We're going to give you as much support as we can, and we do appreciate that. So going forward, we're going to do everything we can to keep the doors open.
We appreciate that. And the reason I asked you to the show is to represent what's out there now, because there is a lot of pain, and there are a lot of small businesses, whether they're restaurants or gyms or yoga studios or whatever. People have spent all their hard-earned life savings in trying to hold on has been something else. You have been, and Fiorello's has been historically very active, as we talked earlier about giving back to the community, very active. How has this pandemic changed? Tell me what you've done a little bit in the past and what you've done since the pandemic has hit, because I know you've given back to the community in so many ways, as many of us, our small businesses have. In fact, it's our small businesses that give back to the community more than anyone. So tell me how this is going to change for you during the pandemic.
So for the last 5 years, we've teamed up with Stand Up for Kids, which is 40 homeless kids, which we make food every other Thursday for over the last 5 years going back, and which we still continue to do till this day. Since the pandemic, we teamed up with the Santa Clara Fire Department and also the City of Santa Clara with helping donate meals to the Bill Wilson Center with up to 100 meals on a couple different occasions with them. So going back and collaborating with them and coming together and donating, I think it was about 200 meals to them as well with the fire department. That's helped out real well. We do Wounded Warriors, we do a lot of different donations, but at this point, you have to ask yourself, how long can you keep it up? Without business maintaining a certain level and literally losing money every week, we can't continue that. We'll do it as long as we can, but until we can open up indoors and have some security going forward, it's going to be tough going forward.
So I see that what you've given to the community, your ability has been hampered because of the pandemic and the cash flow, obviously, but it snowball effects into the community for the nonprofits and others. I know at Christmas time you've given gift cards from Target,
We do $2,500 every year to foster children. So we would give them, and they would disperse them from there. Toys for Tots. I mean, there's a whole list. Yeah, there's a lot.
It's too long, but those are the nonprofits, and the people in need are really going to suffer.
Those
If
are in the
you're
need of most
suffering,
right now. You
it's
know what I mean?
inevitable that they're going to suffer, Michael, right?
Because that's what gets cut first. I mean, people can't file bankruptcy on their homes or close their businesses. They're going to stop giving if they don't have the ability to. We don't want to do. We're actually personally giving the money now. It's not even the business that's doing it now. It's personally coming out of our pockets, which it has been. So we'll keep it up as long as we can. But at some point, you gotta stop.
Right. So I know that you have been involved in a couple of the programs that the city has offered. And last week I went through all of the COVID-19 relief efforts from the city of Santa Clara. And we have a lot, so many. I always have to keep this with me so I can refer to them. Tell us how the city has helped you through this.
So we applied for a essential business, which
small business
essential grant. We were awarded that for $5,000. We appreciated that immensely. On top of that, we did a collaboration with the Silicon Valley Power, which they provided the cost and covered the cost to change all of our lighting to be LED lighting. We have a 10,000 square foot building. That's a lot of lights. They also covered our parking lot lights and our signage lights out in the front of the restaurant as well. So they helped us out with finances. So that had brought down our electric bill, even though Santa Clara Power, thank God, is cheaper than PG&E, which we appreciate. On top of that, we're saving it with LED
Silicon Valley
lighting.
Power, that was an advertisement. I
Absolutely,
know it. Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Very, very lucky to have that. Yes, a huge draw, huge draw.
Great. I asked you earlier, did you get your utility bill credit? But his sister Renee does the utility bills. So
Renee pays all the bills.
We can't verify that yet, but we hope you got your utility bill credit. So, and with the fire department passing out the meals, we appreciate that.
They were amazing.
And I have to say, when COVID-19 pandemic hit, you were one of the first people to call me to say, how can we help?
Absolutely.
What can we offer? We want to offer decent meals, because you've always had so much pride in your food.
Yes.
Decent meals to any residents that need it. I know your business did, Tony and Alba's did. There's so many, again, small businesses jumped in to help the city, with masks and food and other things. So I really want to applaud you, because not everyone does that in our community. But in Santa Clara, we have wonderful, wonderful businesses here that jump in and help. And you are a shining example of that.
On top of that, Lisa, we do for the fire departments, not just Santa Clara, but San Jose, police departments, not only Santa Clara, but San Jose. If you come in uniform and have food in our restaurant, we discount your meal 40%. So we do that for all uniformed police officers and fire department. We thank them for their service.
First responders.
Absolutely.
Did you hear that, first responders out
Absolutely.
there? All right.
Come in uniform, you'll get a 40% discount right off your tab. Absolutely.
Thank you for that, because we have our Parade of Champions coming up, and the theme of our Parade of Champions is honoring our first responders and our COVID-19 heroes.
Absolutely.
So you've already been doing that, and so we appreciate that. So before we go on any further, I want to give you a time to talk about your closing statement at the end, because I think there's a specific call to action that you're going to ask from the city of Santa Clara, how we can further help our small businesses in the community. I know that we have many, many programs in our COVID relief efforts, so many, and I think you checked about 3 or 4 boxes in here. We are always, and our council's always trying to do what we can to help people, and the fact that you provided food and other things is just a basic need in the community since the pandemic hit. So I'm hoping that we have some questions now, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Let's go over to Facebook and see if we have any questions. So it looks like we have some. So here we go. It says about 70% of us will that has to be Edward. I see you on Facebook all the time. About 70% of us will get COVID-19. Only 0.4% will die from COVID-19. Why should we not open the city? Edward, so that would have been a great question for Sarah. I don't want to say Sarah Cody.
I'm pretty educated on that subject.
Would you like to talk about that, Michael?
Yes.
I know you've had recent.
Yes, I've learned more and more about how this is working. So just to give everybody a heads up, it's not the city of Santa Clara, it's not the city of Sunnyvale, it's not the city of Palo Alto, it's Santa Clara County. The state of California, which allowed us to move into the red tier with the lower test numbers, we should be allowed to open up restaurants 25%. The Santa Clara County and Sarah Cody has overruled and superseded them. So they go by the stricter guidelines. So basically what that does is the governor basically allows us to open. So he kind of just passes the buck on that. And then it goes down to Sarah Cody, which Sarah Cody said that they're not allowing restaurants to open. So it's not the city, it's the county of Santa Clara that supersedes the state.
Thank you for answering that, because we tried to bring that out last week.
Very frustrating.
And we'll probably have to bring Lisa Schoenthal back, our Director of Emergency Operations, because many people think it's the city of Santa Clara that we have control over what's happening, and we don't. We follow the same public health orders as everyone else.
Yes.
We follow what the county tells us to do, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But it is frustrating for everyone. The good thing is it looks like our numbers are coming down.
They are coming down.
I don't have the specific numbers right now, but it looks like they're coming down. And the more they come down, the more people can get back to work safely. Michael, tell us about what that would look like for you. You've always talked about getting back, opening the restaurant safely.
So our restaurant is 10,000 square feet. With it being 10,000 square feet, we have more than enough room to socially distance each table. We have protocols with regards to sanitizing our restrooms, how we clean our tables, how we clean the booths, the chairs, how we wrap our silverware, how we put it in plastic wrap to sanitize it even more to make sure that we don't pass COVID-19 anyway. Washing your hands consistently. We have protocols posted at every hand washing sink throughout the restaurant, in the bathrooms. We have signs that go on the floor that tell people to socially distance. We're ready. Protocols are set.
You're ready. Okay, I saw we had some comments about Fiorello's. Mm-hmm. Let's hope are they positive? Let's see. Can we go back and look at some of those? From Bob, Fiorello's, great food, great portions, great workers, great place.
Thank you, Bob.
Wow. Thanks, Bob. Ray, the best restaurant in Santa Clara.
I appreciate that, Ray. Thank you so much.
Melissa, love Fiorello's. Santa Clara is blessed with this family. They support weekly Stand Up for Kids. Very giving family, very blessed.
Thank you, Melissa.
And finally, Teresa, always so friendly.
That's family.
There you go.
That's family.
See? There you go. So, Michael, it looks like we're going to be wrapping this up pretty soon. So I'd like to know what your final thoughts are that you'd like to leave us with, and what is your call to action? What can we do, not only as a city, but as a community, to help move you forward so that we can save and preserve your very important business and others in Santa Clara?
As a city, we need to push Sarah Cody to being more visible, to give us more direction so that we could actually hear from her, see from her, and be present. At this point, we don't hear from her. We don't get to hear what she has to say. As a city, you guys have the ability to put some pressure on her to be able to push us. We're ready to open up. Restaurants are ready to open up. We're ready. It's been 7 months now that this has been going on. We've been humbled, like I said. We understand what needs to be done, and we will carry it out the way it needs to be so that we can open up safely and follow those protocols.
So what I'm hearing is City of Santa Clara, City Council, City staff,
we need you to be our
Operations
voice. We need you to be our voice.
We need to even advocate more.
Please.
We've been trying to be very creative with the county. We even have, one of the guests I'll have on later is the Vanguards. They're suffering as much because they achieve a lot of their revenue from bingo. They just started outdoor bingo, which cost them a lot to get it going, but at least in a small portion. We have to get creative. We have to put pressure and get our restaurants open. I can tell you personally, I am sick and tired of cooking. I do not like to cook. I like to eat out a lot.
That's funny.
Because I'm a terrible cook. So we need our restaurants open, and we need to get people back to work. And so I'm going to pledge to you, we're going to do what we can to put the pressure. It's the County of Santa Clara, County Board of Supervisors, a county executive, and the county health officer, Sarah Cody. We are pretty responsible here in Santa Clara, and our people need to get back to work safely. I want to say safely, and the city will do everything we can to assist. So I want to thank you. Anything else, Michael?
No, I think we're good. We need your support. The numbers are coming down, so I thank the public for that. Let's get back to being open, have our normal lives back. With the weather changing and the time getting darker earlier, that's going to be very trying for restaurants to hang on. If we can't get 25% and have the option to either open indoors and a little bit outside if people are willing to do that without that revenue, a lot of businesses are going to be closing, I guarantee it.
So that's a really good message. Go to our restaurants, eat out, take out.
I don't cook at home.
You don't cook at
No,
home?
I'll be honest, I cook every day at the restaurant. I don't cook at home.
I can't imagine you'd
I
want to.
go out to our local restaurants, our local restaurants. I really focus on them. Corporations, they have enough money. Corporations got money backing them, and if anything ever goes wrong with a corporation, they just file bankruptcy and start again. Mom and pop restaurants, we personally guarantee everything. We cannot do that, so we do need your help.
Please support our local restaurants, our local businesses.
Yes.
They need our help. It's really a matter of life or closing
Absolutely.
at this point. So, Michael, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me today. Best to your family, best to your employees. I'll be there soon. I'm
Thank you.
hoping you do the rice balls at Christmas time.
Christmas time, they'll be coming.
Maybe you can do them a little earlier.
Arancinis, they're
And
coming.
we can buy them in bulk. You used to have to go to the restaurant to get them, but
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
But that's all the time we have for today's Mayor at Noon. I'll be back here on Facebook Live next Friday afternoon with Pastor Tong of the River of Life Church. They have an amazing food distribution program we want to talk about. So thank you for watching, and remember to keep it covered, Santa Clara. Thank you.